Okay, guys, we are moving on to question 4, right, which is the second last question of the paper. So let's just jump in. So it says, William Shakespeare, those are the dates between which he lived, is considered by many to be the greatest writer of the English language. He wrote 154 sonnets, 38 plays divided into 3 main groups: comedy, history, and tragedy, and 4 long narrative poems. Okay. This information is presented in the pie chart below. So we can see that sonnets, this little guy, this section here that looks like Pac-Man, is sonnets. So the majority of his work was sonnets. These 3 are plays, and this here is a long poem. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to our questions. Excuse me. Let's jump in. Okay, I have a broken ruler here. So it says, represent the data as a bar graph on the group below. Okay, so it's unfortunate these are printed back to back because I'm going to have to do lots of flicking. But we see sonnets is 154. Okay, so, but that's actually not what they've started with here. They've started with long poems. So long poems, I'm just going to write the number underneath to help me. So long poems is 4. Histories is 10. Comedies is 17. Tragedies is 11, and sonnets is 154. Okay, just so we got all the numbers there. So now we can just plot it all in. Okay, so 4 is going to be literally a little bit there. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to do histories, which is 10. So histories we can do up to there. I don't know, you can make it probably a little bit thicker. I'm just thinking like what I'm drawing here is not the nicest looking. So you can kind of like fill up the block. Okay, there's you filled up that block. Not great marks, but okay, it'll do. That'll do. Okay, 10. Then we have 17. So it's kind of like over here. You probably use a ruler, guys. I'm not doing this question justice over here. Okay, Marks, use a ruler. Okay, so that's 17. Okay, and my 17 is a little bit high. 11 is just over 10. So we can just do it like that. Then we can just color it in. And then 154, sure, we are the whole way up here. Okay, and let's just draw that in. So then I'm going to try to do this a bit. Oh, goodness gracious, this is badly done. Okay, so this is kind of what it should look like. Okay, so we've drawn that in. They're just wanting us to show the relativity. By relativity, I mean the comparison, right, of his different, of the different sort of genres that he produced, right, or the different types of English literature. So just so we can see that sonnets is a lot, followed by comedies, then tragedies, then histories, then long poems. Okay, that's all they want us to sort of allude to in this graphical form. So then it says, how many artistic pieces, sonnets, plays, and poems did Shakespeare write all together? So we need to add all of these guys together. So I'm going to say 4 plus 10 plus 17 plus 11 plus 154. Okay, because that's all of them. Just plug that into our little calculator. And we're sitting at 196. Okay, because that's the total number of pieces that he produced in his lifetime. Okay, it's 196 pieces. It's quite extensive. Okay, let's now move on to the next question. Determine what percentage of his works, rounded to the nearest 10%, important, that told us in what form they want it, consists of sonnets. So we have to say 154, right, because that's how many sonnets he had, over the total number of works he produced, times by 100. Now, you might be saying, Margs, why do we times by 100? Well, they've asked us for it in percentage form, haven't they? Okay, so we must make sure that we give them what they've asked for. Otherwise, they're not going to give us all our marks. So this is 78.57%. Okay, now what's important, right, is we haven't fully answered the question. It said rounded to the nearest 10. So we need to round this off to the nearest 10, and the nearest 10 is 80%. Okay, 78.57 is closer to 80% than it is to 70%. Okay, so that's that question done. Let me just move that off so we can move on to our next question. Calculate the size in degrees. This is quite important. In degrees, so they're talking about these little guys, of the sector representing comedies. Now, comedies we see was 17. Okay, so we know that it's going to be 17 over 196. Okay, so we know 17 comedies out of the 196 works that he made. Okay, but they've asked for it in degrees. So now what they're wanting us to indicate, right, and wanting us to show is that they want us to indicate that we understand how many degrees there are in the circle. So there are 360 degrees in a circle. So we want to know how many of those degrees are allocated to this little pizza slice. Okay, so what we do is we multiply it by 360 degrees. Okay, because we're saying what proportion, because this is a fraction, another word for a fraction is a proportion. What proportion of the 360 degrees of the circle can we attribute to comedies? Okay, so, oopsie daisy, let's put this in the correct form. Don't put the degree sign in, firstly, because I don't know how you would do that, but it's not actually all that useful. You just put it in at the end, okay? 31.22 degrees. Remember your measurement, in this case degrees, because you're indicating that it's a degree, because they've asked us to do that. If you don't put that, then it's just 31.22. It could be anything, you know. You have to indicate what you're referring to. So that is how many degrees out of the 360 are attributed to comedy. Okay.